Dr. Duckham of Vino MD, and today I have the little honor of talking about Williams and Selyem and their Pinot Noir and what it means. And what it really means is also the beginnings of dropping grapes. What is dropping grapes? Well, that means when you actually go through the vineyard and you snip, 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 and you drop grapes that aren't perfect clusters. It all started back in the 80s. Back in the 80s at the Masters of Food and Wine, I had the honor of having dinner with Burt Williams. He was the owner of the winery label at that time. And he gave the lecture to us at lunch. The interesting thing about Williams Selyem at that time is that they were the new foo-foo winery. Nowadays, we have the Costa Brown, we have Sea Smoke, we have Siderai, we have all these new kind of foo-foo wineries that are used to making wine in the style of single vineyard designates. But back in the day, it was considered a new concept. Just imagine, this wine, for instance, is Olivet Lane and was made on Olivet Lane. That was pretty new in the 1980s. What Burt told me was that they pioneered at that time a way of doing this. For instance, the growers of these large vineyards, or actually very small vineyards, would be paid not by the amount from the vineyard, but how much tonnage they made. So they were all encouraged to grow as many grapes as possible on their vineyards. The problem with that is that meant that the wine flavors were diluted, but the vineyard owners got paid a reasonable amount. So Burt comes along and says, hey, I got a new idea. We want you to drop a lot of your grapes. We want to go from 15 tons per acre down to say 1 or 2 tons because we think it's going to be better. Well, of course, that's not fair to the wine growers. So he said, so we're going to pay you based on 15 tons per acre, and we're just going to pay you right now, and then we're going to drop whatever we want. So if it gets down to 1/2 or 3 tons per acre, you'll be happy. So that's how it all started in those days. Dropping grapes now and dropping clusters is very common in the vineyards, but there was a time when that just wasn't done. So I get to open up on Olivet Lane, Williams Selyem. Olivet Lane has been his one of his standard bearers from the early days in the late 80s when he first was developed. They lost the contract for a while because Olivet said we wanted to make our own grapes, and it was awful, but you know, what can you say? So now they have the contract back, so it's kind of exciting for me. Now, I'm terrible at opening wine. My wife will tell me that constantly, but let's pray that I can get it done right. See, I'm a terrible opener. In any event, I want to just pour it. I want to see what it tastes like because Williams Selyem produces a really cherry, focused beam of flavors. Oh, I'm so happy to be drinking this in front of you. Anyway, that's Dr. Duckham. We'll see you. Vino MD. Toast. Thank you.